Who is that? I don't know. Must be a friend of Phoebe's.
Oh, hello? Hello? 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. Hello, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Audrey, and I am the Maid of Honour at today's celebration. I'm here today to talk about the lady of the day, my oldest and dearest friend, Phoebe. The very wonderful and happy couple, Phoebe and Silvius.
Phoebe and Silvius.
All right. They look amazing, don't they? It's tradition in this job to start with a joke. And as these two are both farmers, I've got an absolute classic for you. What do you call a lamb that does karate? Lamb chop! She loves it. So, today's a very special day. The day that these two wonderful people have finally, and I say finally, tied the knot. It's been a long time coming, because I've known these two since I was very small, and that scruffy lad there, Silvius, he's been chasing Phoebe round this countryside since he was in nappies. Still are some days, aren't you, Silvius? Oh, he didn't like that. All right, so it is my job to tell you a funny story about the couple, right? And I've been racking my brains, I've been trying to think of one, and I thought I could tell you about the time that Phoebe drove the sheep up Highwood, got stuck in a bog, and me and Silvius and old Corin, we had to drag her out. She was absolutely covered, and she stank. Not kidding you. Oh, terrible, worse than dung. The other thing that came to mind was when Phoebe got a soup ladle, and she accidentally hit Silvius in the you-know-where, really bad. And then the other one that I thought about was when she laughed so hard that milk came out of her nose and her eyeballs. I'm not kidding you. Look, we've all been there, out of her eyeballs. But Phoebe asked me not actually to mention any of those. So I better not. So the story that I'm gonna tell you is of the day that these two finally decided to wed. And it's a good story, but it's a bit unusual. So it's a normal day, right? And Phoebe's having her lunch, and Silvius is mooning over her like usual. And then this stranger rocks up. Okay? Random bloke, they've never seen him before. And he overhears them. He overhears Silvius being all desperate and Phoebe being all mean and giving him the eyebrow. And he comes over to him and he introduces himself as Ganymede. And he stands up to Phoebe, right? And he says, "Why are you being so proud and mean? You're not actually that nice, and this bloke Silvius is too good for you." He said, "Sell when you can, you are not for all markets." Like she was a runt of the litter. That got our Phoebe all riled up. She's not used to that. She's used to Silvius being all nice to her, right? So she's got a bit of a big head. And I shouldn't tell you this at all, but she had a bit of a crush on this Ganymede bloke, right? So she decides to write him a note, okay? So she writes this note, and she asks Silvius to go and give it to Ganymede, and Silvius would do anything for us. He takes this note to Ganymede. Ganymede opens it, reads it. It's a love letter, shows it to Silvius. Well, Phoebe didn't like that. She got really mad. So there's this massive showdown, right, between the three of them, where Silvius is declaring his love for Phoebe, and then Phoebe's declaring her love for Ganymede, and Ganymede says he doesn't like girls. So to try and smooth things out a bit, Ganymede offers them a deal, right? And he says to Phoebe, "Phoebe, if you refuse to marry me, will you take the faithful Silvius?" Well, Phoebe agrees, right, to that deal, because she can't really lose, can she? Next day, Ganymede rocks up, dressed in women's clothing, and announces to the two of them that he's actually a woman called Rosalind who had to dress up as a boy in order to escape from a really bad situation, right? And this Rosalind, Ganymede, is already in love with someone else. She's in love with Orlando up the big house, right? Well, Phoebe's thinking, that's a bit awkward. And there's Silvius standing there, and she's made this deal, And she looks at him and remembers that actually he's quite a nice bloke and maybe she sort of does fancy him. And there the two of them are now, happy as pigs, happy as lambs with chocolate bars. Oh, come on, that was a good one. That was a good one. Oh, you've had enough of sheep joke, have you? Shame on you! You like a sheep.
Whee!
Right, well, I can see that it's time for me to go soon. So before I leave, because this is actually a lovely day of celebration and I shouldn't just be telling weird stories about my friends, I'm going to leave you with something lovely. And the real reason that I think that Phoebe decided finally that Silvius was the man for her and that he was an amazing person. And it's what he actually said when Ganymede asked him what it was to be in love when they were having their big standoff. It's what he said about Phoebe. And I've written it down so I don't get it wrong. He said this. He said, "Love is to be all made of sighs and tears. It is to be all made of faith and service. It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all obedience. And so am I for Phoebe."
Oh, sweet.
Isn't that the most lovely thing you've ever heard? He's a proper poet, our Silvius. So, everyone, thank you very much. And I would like you now to raise a glass to the most amazing couple in the world. Woo! Silvius and Phoebe.
Silvius and Phoebe.